Give everybody a few minutes to enter the chat. Y'all see the description. Everybody feel Gucci Mane is snitching on record. Well, I heard the record and he shouldn't have put the record out because basically, if they subpoena him, well, they don't need to subpoena him because they got the record and everybody knows the FBI police, that's their thing now. Records, videos, and they use that shit in court. But everybody's so shocked because if you listen from Hard to Kill and all that shit from back in the day that he dropped, he always talking about robbing. It's an old DVD of him talking to Rocco about how bad he wanted to get down with BMF and that he asked Blue Da Vinci if he could be down, and he said Blue went and talked to Meech about him, and Meech was like, nah, he got a reputation of robbing. So it's like, you brag about robbing people, selling fake bricks, all type of shit you was doing. And even though people say you shouldn't mix your emotion with business, you know, Gucci come off very arrogant and shit, so it ain't no telling what. And then another thing too, right? People be talking about crashing out. Like a lot of people was having, a lot of people never had $10 million inches away from them. You know what I mean? A lot of people just never been in no situation where you may have found out somebody played your cousin dirty while you was locked up who passed away. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Hit that like button. But a lot of people never been inches away from $10 million, and then the only way you get the $10 million is if this dude sign you off the label type shit because you got to go through him to get the deal. You know what I mean? Are you from the U.S.? Yeah, I'm from the U.S. Hit that like button while y'all all in here. But in order for you to get that 10 mil deal, you got to go through Gucci. You know what I mean? He already done made 25 mil off you since you've been gone. You know what I mean? So yeah, business is business, but it's like greed is just always the cause of some shit can go violent. You know what I mean? Can you say my name, please? What it do, family? Um, but yeah, man. And then a lot of people don't know this shit because it's real old, right? Back in the day, Gucci Mane robbed French Montana for $5,000. Look, my boy put the laughing emojis up. He robbed French Montana for $5,000. I think they were supposed to meet up at a studio, and French, he only said he was gonna charge him 5,000. He ran off on French. I don't know if he ever paid him back to this day, but you know, this, like I say, this somebody who brag on robbing people in their music and shit like that. You know what I mean? And then people would feel like it's weird too. Like, okay, yeah, a lot of them bodyguard dudes be former law enforcement type shit, but you must have had to feel some kind of weird shit for you to feel like you had to bring a camera crew because for one, y'all weren't really vibing like that. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck you think y'all gonna hug it out and then be on camera and all that shit or whatever? I don't know. So, And, I don't know. And then it's like I said, a lot of those bodyguards, they do be like former law enforcement type people and shit. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but like I said, when he made the diss record, you don't supposed to do that shit. You too old for that shit. And then a lot of people feel like he did that because his wife influenced him to do it. You know what I mean? They feel like he wouldn't have made no choice like that if he wasn't with her type shit. You know what I mean? But that's people trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because people still want to have love for him on some fanned out shit. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but Gucci always like like I just said, I just did a live where showing y'all what he said about Jeezy, and that was on the DVD back in the day. How he said Jeezy is the only person who had a motive to want to get him killed. He said that on the DVD. So you know what I mean? Like that was like out of hand back then. You know what I mean? But people forget that shit, and they remember, but they overlook it. All y'all in here, hit that like button. Subscribe. Michael Jeremiah 6460. You subscribe. I appreciate you. Salute, family. But a lot of people forget that he did that, and then they overlook shit. And then when shit like this happen, and then look, I'm gonna tell you, the people in the comments be full of shit. David, what it do? Can you please? I gave you a shout out, family. Salute. Subscribe. Hit that like button. But I hope a lot of y'all was in here on West Coast. You know what I mean? You sub. I appreciate you subbing, family. Good looking. Um, a lot of people be forgetting like when it comes to business, yes, they say your feelings and shit shouldn't be involved in all of that or whatever, but emotions run high when it's millions of dollars, like I say, inches away from you. And then you can't get them millions of dollars unless this nigga sign off on you, who already done made 25 to 30 million off you since you've been gone. And still finna make even more because, like they said, he said in the meeting, it's got to go through the lawyers and shit like that. So, and then the numbers done increase now. You know how society is, but society, I forgot to say this, this is what I was gonna say, right? Fans are so full of shit. It's like, fuck the fans. You know what I mean? Because when you dealing with somebody and they rapping about certain shit and they living it is cool, but when they actually do what they're living, then you read the comments, everybody, he'll crash dummy, he this and that. This nigga always been talking about he been the slimiest and he don't need to keep his grass cut because he the biggest snake and all that type of shit. And when a nigga do something that's out of pocket, everybody want to turn on him type shit. You know what I mean? It's like 50-50 type shit. Some feel him, and then you got some people saying he crashed out. Then you got some people saying, well, Gucci 50, he ain't living like that no more. Sergio, what it do, family? Are you a rapper? No, I'm not a rapper. I'm just in the entertainment business. Hit that like button though and sub to my channel. But when you come from somewhere like Pooh thinking like Gucci is gonna keep it street, you know what I mean? And that he probably had control of his surroundings to keep whatever happened in house, but shit don't work like that, you know what I mean? When you got jury you bragging about talking about your ring 2 million and all this shit right here, and you got it insured. You got it insured, you know what I mean? And then like I said, he married, so his wife or whoever, somebody gonna influence him, you gotta report it missing and shit like that. And so to me, it's just crazy that he had dropped a diss record talking about what happened. You know what I mean? When you got hella records of talking about you robbing people, selling dummy bricks and all type of shit like that. You know what I mean? But like, and then right now, like he going viral because like he got everybody on his label from Asian Doll to Lil Rod to McCritter, or everybody just talking about how he sucked as a CEO type shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you could be welcoming people with open arms and shit like that, you know what I mean? And, he had influence on a lot of careers in Atlanta and shit like that. But, I don't see how it's shocking to people. Like I said, when him and Jeezy was at it, he been saying weird shit. You know what I mean? And the laws and all that shit. And listen, that's what made Jeezy be like, you know what I mean? Okay, I'm gonna fall back from him. And when Jeezy used to call him short short bus shorty and shit like that or whatever. Even though on the low, CTE member said Jesus was meeting with him and acting like squash beef, and then when they all deep, he playing like it's still beef. You know what I mean? On some weird shit, but yeah, he robbed French Montana back in the day for 5 grand and shit like that. You know what I mean? And for those who from that era remember, Gucci did that shit. You know, Gucci was like not really known as a trustable guy before he went to prison for real. He was known like that, like on some bipolar shit, like always flipping on people, going on rants and shit, the shit that y'all call Meek Mill's Twitter fingers and shit like that. Gucci was him first. Twitter fingers first. Going online, dissing Nicki Minaj and dissing everybody who, you know, motherfuckers thought that they was cool and all of that. So, pooh, shiesty, you know what I mean? Like I say, I ain't gonna say he crashed out. You know what I mean? But some people just feel like it's a better way of going about shit. But like I say, everybody don't go about shit the same, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Let's see how this shit play out. You know what I mean? 30, I think 30 still locked up. I think they did try to give 30 and his dad a bond, but they said the feds came up with some shit and blocked it. So I don't know if they really got bond yet. Like, we'll see. But like, I will tell you this shit though. The feds, they make up shit as they go. Like, your ass think you and your lawyer finna be high-fiving and shit. And then 2 seconds later, somebody walk from the back and they talking about, yeah, we just created a tic-tac law. Yeah, tic-tac law is you stepped on this crack 3 times on the way walking to court. We got it on video, so we just upgraded your status from 5 to 3 to motherfucking 10 to 50 round. It's like they make up shit. So, you know, it's gonna be an uphill battle. But everybody keeps saying it ain't no video, no guns, no, you know what I mean? Really ain't no proof like that. But if you got Gucci making a record describing the situation, what happened, then, I mean, you don't really need him to come to court all like that, you know what I mean? And then some niggas have pleas in the feds. You can have a plea deal where, you know what I mean, like, you ain't gotta come to court. You just got a valid statement type shit. Like, it's all type of shit that they do for certain people. Like, it's weird. Like, but like I said, we'll see how this shit play out. But like I said, a lot of people don't know he robbed French Montana back in the day for $5,000. This Gucci when he was like drugged out, leaned out on some club type shit. You know what I mean? Like, he definitely, you know, like I say, going to that, doing that little 2.5, 3 years definitely helped his ass out a whole lot. But for those who don't remember, go back and look that shit up. He did rob French Montana. And like I say, Gucci had a fucked up ass bipolar history. So let's see how this shit play out. You know, Tribe Gang TV, you know what I mean? Had to tap in, let y'all know my thoughts on it, because everybody playing a fucking record. You know what I mean? Record. This shit right here. I ain't no cap. I listened to that shit several times. And he grabbed off Zaytoven beat and all that shit. That shit was like whack. You know what I mean? For real. In my opinion. And I listened to the shit like probably like 3 times. You know what I mean? Just to make sure. You know what I mean? You good. Just to make sure. You know what I mean? So that shit was like whack for real. Like, you just wasted a whole real Zaytoven beat into this the young guy who signed to your label, who just tried to damn near allegedly off with your head type shit. You know what I mean? But like I said, I listened to it and shit like that or whatever, and I listened to it like 3 times, and I read the comments. You talking about people talking about something, he grown, but put it like this way. For all y'all who talking about he grown and he 50-some years old and all this shit, it's like what Boosie said. Okay, if you ain't living that life no more, then why you still rapping about it? You know what I mean? Like, you need to rap about walking through a park, you really jumping in your pool, you sleeping on a yacht, all that shit. Then stop rapping about street shit then And then when street shit happen, you can't really handle it all like that. You know what I mean? So it's like people need it's like FYBJ me, let's start there. You know what I mean? How about for people who really ain't living it, switch your whole rap shit up because you really misleading people. And then when some shit hit the fan and you get tomahawk across your damn scalp, you people in the comments, oh, he wasn't living like that. He just is a married man. Well, if you're a married man, fully cross on over and start rapping more responsible shit that married men do along with your married man ass lifestyle. You know what I mean? Stop playing this certain gangsta ass image. And then when it hit the fan, you got people, dumbasses in the comments, who talking about, well, he married and he on grown man time. Well, if he fully on grown man time, tell him to quit using enhancements, trying to act like it's still 2006 and shit, and rapping about bricks and all this goofy ass type shit when it's been on record that since the man been locked up, you make 25 M's off the man and shit like that. And you know, he inches away from doing a 10 mil deal, but he can't get that deal done unless you release him or some shit. Cause y'all ain't come to no agreement. So I don't know, man. Like I said, we'll see how this shit play out. I think the boys, we all know Pooh ain't getting no bone because he still was on the ankle monitor, you know what I mean? So basically, we'll just see what happened between 30 and his pops. And then they trying to expose his pops saying he been an informant since 2009. So this case gonna be very interesting, you know what I mean? See how this shit go. And the people who's around Gucci, you know what I mean? I don't think to anybody else out there who know about the situation that it'd be shocking if one of them got on the stand, you know what I mean? But like I said, we all feel now that Gucci don't gotta get on the stand because why? He just made a song describing everything that happened and how he truly feels about it. So like I say, basically we just gonna see how it play out. Is they gonna stroke him or, you know what I mean, see how this shit goes. So Tribe Gang TV, salute. Try to tap in with a different time zone. For those that just y'all first time tapping in with the gang, go to my YouTube post, check for updates, go to all my old videos, go tap in with your boy, learn your boy. I'm gonna try to tap in more and with the West Coast time frame and all the different countries and shit like that, you know what I mean, who be subbing to your boy and just go to all my videos, you know what I mean, run them views up, like I say, give me your opinions and thoughts on my posts, share my shit, you know what I mean, Tribe Gang TV, we out.